Good afternoon from the newsroom. G20 leaders, including US President Donald Trump, have agreed a joint position on trade but remain at odds over climate change. Negotiators in Hamburg are understood to be working on a final statement. The talks follow a second night of violent protests.
Nightmarish scenes played out across Hamburg last night. Protesters lit fires and hurled missiles at police. Shops had their windows smashed and their contents looted. It was hours before calm was restored. Police said nearly 200 officers were injured during the protests and over 100 demonstrators were arrested. But this morning, it appeared to be business as usual for the political figures arriving for talks. Negotiators had worked through the night on the wording of the summit statement, which is expected later today. A joint position on trade is understood to have been agreed, with all countries pledging to resist protectionism. Climate change is said to be the only outstanding issue. The provisional agreement is reported to take note of President Donald Trump's decision to withdraw the United States from the landmark Paris Climate Accord last month. But there's believed to be a further sticking point, with the United States pushing for a reference to the clean and efficient use of fossil fuels. While the negotiators continue to try to come up with a form of words that's acceptable to all, political leaders held separate talks. President Donald Trump met the British Prime Minister Theresa May and said a US-UK trade deal would be signed soon. Meanwhile, the city of Hamburg continues the clean-up and braces itself for another day of protests. Joan O'Sullivan, RT News.
Here, the Citizens' Assembly has heard that the majority of people will rely on the state pension when they retire. The Assembly, which is discussing the challenges and opportunities of an ageing population for a second weekend, was also told most people in private employment are not in a pension scheme.
Ireland is ageing. Many of us hope for a happy retirement. But how many are saving for that through a pension scheme?
Pension coverage in Ireland is low. It's around 47% of the working population. Clearly you'd want that much higher. People are living longer and as a consequence will need to save for the retirement, and our view is not enough people are doing that.
Most retirees rely on what the state provides.
The state pension is the bedrock of the pension system. It is the bedrock of income for the vast majority of older people in Irish society. It's to take a line from the paper that I've given to you, it's only among pensioners living in the top 30% of Irish households that the state old age pension becomes a source of less than half their annual incomes.
But the state pension age is rising. So is it time to look at what age people stop working?
The whole reason you're discussing population ageing, it's partly because people are living longer, but also they're living longer because they're healthier. All right, so, it was certainly the case that if you go back a certain period of time, people, yes, in their 60s, might have been on a sort of a health decline. Not at all clear that that is currently the case. Obviously, in certain sort of physically demanding occupations, this could still hold, but for a huge number of occupations now, which are more sort of cognitively oriented, it is not the case that the day you hit 65, your productivity plummets in any shape or form, or your health rather plummets.
The Assembly is also discussing whether all workers should be automatically enrolled in a pension scheme, but with the choice of opting out. And this afternoon, it will be hearing about the human rights and equality issues around retirement. Coleman O'Sullivan, RTE News at the Citizens' Assembly in Malahide.
A female has died after being struck by a Lewis tram on the Red Line in Dublin. The incident happened at about 12:35 a.m. at St James's Walk in Rialto. The area was sealed off to facilitate a Garda investigation. It's since reopened. Garda are appealing to anyone who was in the St James's Walk area and may have witnessed the incident to contact them. The British and Irish Lions have drawn 15-all with the All Blacks in the third and final test of their rugby tour in New Zealand. It means the series ends all square, with both sides having one victory each.
There was no fairy tale ending for either side in Eden Park as a tense and tight affair ended in a 15-all deadlock. But it was a thriller from the off, and within minutes fans were off their seats wanting more.
It's an intercept. Liam Williams. Barrett's got it. So's Lomape. Jonathan Davis hunts him down. Jonathan Davis working to get there. And and Watson coolly plucks it out of the air.
The momentum was firmly with New Zealand and they made it count. A perfect pass from one Barrett to another ended with Lamope crashing over the line. The New Zealand intensity continued, but 2 kicks from the boot of Owen Farrell narrowed the gap to just 1 point. If the Lions thought they could head to the break with the grasp on the game, they were mistaken, as up stepped Geordie Barrett to make it a dream first start for the All Blacks. CJ Stander replaced Sean O'Brien for the second half, making his Lions Test debut. A Lions penalty gave Elliot Daly a chance to do something special, and he nailed it.
It's one of the great kicks.
The All Blacks were reduced to 14 men when Jerome Kanu was yellow carded for a big hit on Alwyn Wynne-Jones. And when opportunity knocked, the Lions pounced as Farrell levelled the game.
Final quarter, all square.
But the battle raged and it was New Zealand who got the next score, claiming back their lead. However, the Lions held their nerve and with just 3 minutes remaining, it was all square again. New Zealand thought they had a chance to win it at the end, but a late call for a penalty was reversed and the Lions held on. Yet despite the best efforts of both sides, there was no winner and no chance to do it all again. Marie Crowe, RTE News.
An exhibition of Japanese art at the Chester Beatty Library has been opened by Her Imperial Highness Princess Takamado of Japan. The centuries-old picture scrolls were bought by Chester Beatty on a visit to Japan in 1917. The library received support from Japan in preserving the scrolls, which are regarded as one of the finest collections in the world. Finally, the National Lottery is appealing to everyone who played last night's Euro Millions to check their tickets after it announced that the jackpot prize worth nearly €29 million was won in Ireland. A spokesperson for the National Lottery says it's not yet known where the winning ticket was bought. The numbers drawn were 11, 20, 35, 37 and 45. The lucky stars were 3 and 6. And that's the lunchtime news from all the team here. Bye for now.